Louisiana is a magical place.
And that was Cajun country, you know.
The food's good. The ladies is fine. Just let them roll like the old folks say, c'est la vie.
So much incredible occult and forgotten history.
There's a lot to the ancient history there that we could be uncovering. Everybody is starting to like really put pieces together.
I've been writing books and doing research in the field of Native American mounds and archaeology since the 1980s. The LSU campus mounds were redated, which is absolutely bizarre. This is all very, very strange, and it's just been made more strange because all these old mounds are in Louisiana. The Smithsonian dug into over 2,000 mounds, finding 17 large skeletons.
They saw a very tall humanoid being.
We just have a rich history of paranormal type stuff. New Orleans is considered to be the most haunted city in the country.
The energy that's over the land, and that energy seems to be stuck there.
In 2019, I had an experience. It was all black, had long black hair on it, a tall creature that had a dog's head. Legendary things of fiction become reality.
When he was 15, this dog man chased him through the woods. He only survived because of his dog saving his life.
Y'all may kill me today. I said, but I promise you this, I'm gonna kill at least 2 or 3 of y'all. And I said, you will for the pain of this 30-06.
It was so close that he could see down the back of its throat.
The vast swamps of Louisiana hold many secrets, from an incredibly old, forgotten history to mythical creatures.
There are no answers. There's only more questions.
I'm honored to have on the show the host of Forbidden Knowledge News, Mr. Chris Mathieu. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, Angus, thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, looking forward to the conversation here.
So, I've been following your show. I mean, it hasn't been a long time, but probably about a year now. Unfortunately, I don't always get to watch it live, and I really appreciate it when I get that chance to watch it live. But it's nice when I'm sitting on an airplane. I'll always listen to a couple episodes when I get the chance, and I appreciate all the different subject matters that covered. And even though I don't believe, you give everybody a chance to speak their mind, their opinion, and all that. And I really appreciate that with people when they do that. That's how we all learn, is by listening to other people's opinions and facts. So tell me a little bit about your journey and how you got started with the Forbidden Knowledge News.
Oh, so it's an ongoing journey. It's something I'm blessed with. And it really just started with curiosity and an awakening that I really never expected. For most of my childhood, I was seeking. Like, I was super into the paranormal. I was super into the unknown and conspiracies until I hit like teenage years, and I started hanging with the wrong crowd, getting into sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and then kind of fell into a sleeper state for years until about 2012, after my divorce it was about 2012, 2013, after my divorce from my first wife, and I started to just realize things weren't right in our reality, just started to do some seeking of my own research, looking at books and YouTube videos and all kinds of stuff, and I just became sucked into the realms of this, conspiratorial truth paranormal community. And I started a blog in like 2015, a Facebook blog called Forbidden Knowledge News. And people found it interesting because I would just, write about some of the interesting things I'd be researching at the time. And then eventually I'm like, man, I need to really do something. I need to talk to some folks that know more about some of these topics than I do, that really do their own research, some of my favorite authors and researchers. So I then started a YouTube channel where I'd start interviewing people, and I'd just do periodic news reports about weird shit and UFOs and the weather and stuff. And it just eventually became a talk show where I started interviewing some of the people that interested me, that were doing interesting research, had interesting stories, contactees, abductees, people in whistleblowers, authors, all kind of wonderful people that were agreeing to come on the show, my little show, and discuss this. And eventually one day I had Charlie Robinson on, and he's like, man, you got to turn this into a podcast. Podcasts are about to start blowing up. So I was like, yeah, I got to listen to Charlie. So I did. He hooked me up with my co-producer here, Corey Hughes, and Corey was already doing like Bitcoin podcasts at the time. And he's like, yeah, why not? Let's try some weird podcasts. Let's try some conspiracy stuff. So he got me on board. We converted all our YouTube videos into podcasts, and then it just started from there, started rolling. And in 2020, I had a profound spiritual experience, major downloads to help me on my trajectory with this show and everything I wanted to do. Quit my day job of like forever that I hated, this corporate day job, making great money, but hated the job. And just winging a prayer, moved out to Colorado to start doing the show full time. And it eventually just all fell into place. We check our revenue in one day and we can pay our rent. Check our revenue a few weeks later, we can pay rent and eat. So it's like, it becomes a beautiful thing. And it all came together. And, through my journey, I've had plenty of profound spiritual and paranormal experiences and synchronicities that are quite incredible. And that all started with one meditative experience. So we can get into that later if you want to. But that's how it all started for me.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
That's a pretty good, willing to roll the dice and take that chance on doing this for a living. That's
yeah, impressive. It was a hell of a roll, because it was based off of that first meditative experience that I had, where this experience, I thought I had been needing to try meditation for a long time. I was going through a bad breakup with actually this stalker chick who I had to get a restraining order on. And it was a tough time, because I was really kind of picking up a little steam with Forbidden Knowledge News, but I was still working my corporate job and I didn't know what to do, kind of depressed. Start meditating. Long story short, this one evening I made contact with what I now understand as my higher self and spirit guides, because there is multiple kind of intelligences behind my experiences. And it gave me information on how to proceed, things I need to research and work on, and how I can heal childhood trauma to propel myself into the next level, and all these things. And that also, for me personally, that psilocybin mushrooms would help boost these journeys in this consciousness exploration and get me to where I want to be much faster and more efficient than just trying to do it with meditation. And that's my own personal journey. And, I would never say that I recommend that anyone do that, but I did, and it worked out for me. I started growing my own mushrooms, started just different strains, doing all kind of research into the psychedelic realms, having profound experiences, very high dose experiences, kind of looking at it both at a spiritual and scientific perspective, and putting myself through these little kind of self-experiments, and each experience I'd have becomes more profound, and it's like a continuation of a story that started from the experience before. And now, in Colorado, they just legalized magic mushrooms, and they're starting to regulate everything. Well, pretty soon, by next year, we'll have shops out here and stuff. So that's also a beautiful thing that's happening at the same time. But yeah, I owe a lot to the whole consciousness exploration thing.
So with the consciousness exploration, so when you're using a psychedelic, I mean, do you think it's actually, because I've heard that it will just affect your perception of reality?
Well, oh yeah, it definitely affects your perception of reality. I think that it gives your consciousness access to things that it normally wouldn't either not pick up on or is not a part of your everyday perception. I think it gives you access to something beyond, to a spiritual part of yourself that's outside of this reality. And I do think that we're under some sort of false overlay right now, and that reality we experience isn't true, what's really considered true reality, and that it is kind of like a matrix type situation, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, I think that based on all the profound experiences I've had, years of experiences and very high doses, I've come to the conclusion that you do have the ability to interact with something outside of this physical reality that has information and can convey information to you.
So it's like, would it be something like the interdimensional, like being able? Because what I felt is that is like since 2020, since it's like the world entered, all of us entered another alternate reality. It's very strange, but yeah. So when I got involved in this, I started looking back, and Stephen Hawking said that if the CERN collider ever found the God particle, it would basically shift the reality, shift us into another dimension. Do you think that's so that you can perceive these other dimensions, other timelines when you're on psychedelics?
Yes, I have, and I've had multiple experiences where I can sense my consciousness traveling through different layers of this particular reality that we are in. And I think there are lower layers and there are higher frequency layers, and I've experienced both. And just like you said, I'm tending to agree that there's something that happened, and it could be around 2020, it could be around 2012, but there's somewhere in our timeline where it shifted into something that is like a false reality, a false overlay, and there's been an infiltration by some sort of, if you want to call it spiritual entity, an AI algorithm. If you're into the simulation theory, I do believe this is a holographic projection that we create, that based on our collective perception, reality is formed, and that our personal experiences can have profound effects on reality and create reality in a way. And I think that what we're experiencing now is a holographic type of simulation that we made for ourselves, because it's the only way that we can currently experience reality in life. And it goes into a lot of things that I've been discussing with people that have been having kind of secret meetings with, folks that I've done shows with over the years, Jason Brashears, Shane the Ruiner, people that really have something that they know, and they have information, and they've really been through these high level experiences, and they know a lot more than your average folks about what's going on. There's a common consensus that at some point humanity messed up, and we either were hijacked by a nefarious force or we made a deal with a nefarious force, and this current overlay that we're in is a false reality in a way. It's like the Matrix, like literally like the Matrix. And in some way, the Matrix movies was the way of this reality trying to push that into human consciousness to get this story going, because in a way it's a documentary, and we need to realize collectively that what we're in right now is a false reality, and we have control over it very powerfully collectively. And the more people remember that, and the more people come online, the more people realize that this is not what we think it is, the more it's going to break down before our eyes. There's some weird shit that's been happening lately, and you can just turn on the news for a few minutes and say, what the hell is going on? And I believe that's because our reality is breaking down right before us. This false overlay is crumbling, and we're all coming online and remembering that this is fake, this is not real, there's something wrong here. And as we do that, our perception changes, as we become more aware of this, reality will begin to follow suit and shift right before our very eyes. And I think this is going to keep happening at a quicker pace, and we're going to see weirder and weirder and weirder things. So that's where I'm at right now with, my understanding of what could be happening right now.
God, I'm glad I'm not the only person that's thinking like that. But so I mean, it's almost like the Matrix movies would almost be like predictive programming.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and I think it's more than that, man. I think
mean,
the Wachowski brothers are, I think, no matter how weird and crazy they are and whatever you think of them, they may be plugged in like an Agent Smith kind of way to the system,
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. They always tell you, oh, well, these people that are thinking this stuff, they're just totally unhinged. They're crazy. It's not being crazy to start to look at your reality and go, there is something wrong. There's just something not right. And I've had discussions with other people, and I went into this on one of the last episodes I did of Event Horizon, where a friend of mine, we went up to New Hampshire on Saturday, September 8th, 2001, which was, prior to, and I kept telling him, something just feels off. It was the energy in the air, and it was just that whole weekend, something just felt not right about something. And then, of course, we had 9/11, and since, and actually, I think kind of since then is where the reality started shifting. Yeah. But it definitely, I mean, in 2020, and like I said, and now reflecting back on what Stephen Hawking said, which goes back to 2014, it's like, man, maybe that is when it really started out. So maybe
it seems like we have these waves of events that occur periodically that have not only attached with them this information, but serious trauma that triggers an energetic effect in our consciousness to where we are being pushed in a certain direction. Now, there's a lot of things that I'm not going to talk about right now that I've been learning that I can't talk about, that really people can't comprehend until they know other pieces of the story. But there is a possibility that what we understand is even our truth community, our conspiracy people, like people that are seeking truth and doing broadcasts, that some of these folks have been infiltrated themselves by this thought form, this force that is guiding people in a certain way, and they are now working for the machine by presenting these conspiracies and these crazy stories that they have no real basis or foundation or truth, but they're putting them out there because the machine is telling them to. And I know a lot of people who are starting to do this, especially when it comes to like your extraterrestrial stuff, your aliens, your secret space program things, your outer space things. There's some huge deceptions going on, but it's not really like, it's not, you can't say it's intentional, because there is a serious energetic infiltration going on. And it's going to take a small group of folks who are aware that this is happening to get the collective back on track, because we're all over the place right now, man. Even the conspiracy, like it's nuts.
Well, that's I think the powers that be are salting the information with as much stuff as they can put out there, and just getting everybody scattered in different directions, and nobody's focusing on what's actually happening, or nobody's focusing on one certain thing,
Now I'll give you a little taste of something that I think people need to start chewing on and thinking about. The only powers that be are us. We are the powers that be. We're controlling our reality in every aspect. The things that we are witnessing now are based off of energetic egregores that we're creating as we interact with our environment. And this has been occurring since we've been in this simulated reality. We've been creating it as we go, and we're in charge. We are in complete charge, except there's an overlay that's confusing people and causing us to forget that we are in charge. And the whole thing is just remembering. Once you remember, you become like Neo, where he's plugged in and learning kung fu and all that stuff. You get to control your reality again. And there's some of us that are just beginning, like I said, just beginning to remember this and learn this and implement it. and have a true effect on the trajectory of where we're going. So the powers that be is just another psychological operation that we created for ourselves. We are the powers that be. We're the Illuminati. Like, we're the ones that are making everything happen. We just need to realize that. And that's where the problem comes in. And that's where people need to shift their whole thinking and their whole perception. Once they do that, then we can start getting in the right direction.
And that's where I've had that question just a couple times today. I've asked that question. And I'm going to use the term again, the powers that be, and I'm talking about the political elite, the people that we, and the technocrats. Who gave these people the power to say we're going to do this and this? So now we think we have no power to fight back against these people.
Yes, correct.
So I mean, is that kind of, we put these?
We're creating everything. We put these people. We believed what they had to say. We trusted these other intelligences that are trying to trick us, because they do have outside intelligences trying to trick us, trying to get us to go in these directions, make us forget these things. And but we still are in control of creating. But the only way they can have control of our reality is to trick us into believing what they're saying. It's like little whispers in our ears to get us to go in the wrong direction and force this new reality into, like, manifest it.
Yeah, that's a good term right there, the manifesting reality. I mean, because it's,
they have to have us manifest it. Like, they can't do it. They don't have the power to do it. But
they revelation of the method.
Yes,
it's kind of a revelation of the method type.
100%. Yes,
this is what we're doing, and I mean, because a lot of the stuff they do now is in plain sight, and they don't care, And I think it's, and people just go, oh, okay, I'm good with that, and it's just giving them all that stuff. And to me, I look at stuff. I'm starting to find out about numerology and this and that, but when you look at 9/11, 911. Okay, what's the emergency number? 911. People go, well, that's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. There's all these movies where 911 comes up, and actually The Matrix is one of them. On his passport, he was born September 11, 2001. I mean, this can't just all be coincidence. They're revealing stuff to us, and just, the predictive program aspect of it. And it's just, there's no such thing as a coincidence, as far as I'm concerned.
Think about it like a computer crash. Whenever your computer's crashing, all these icons are flashing on your screen. You get weird static. All these things show up here that's not supposed to be there. Well, it's like that in our reality right now. All these conspiracies and paranormal weird stuff, it's all popping up out of everywhere, and people are trying to decipher what the hell's going on, and they're like latching on to, oh, this was it is because this is popping up in our reality, when in actuality, it is just the interface breaking down and just throwing everything out at the same time. And people are grasping at straws to try and understand what's happening, when it's just really a system breakdown.
Well, I even believe that there's a lot of people that aren't trying to grasp what's happening. They're just going along.
Just going along with it. 100%.
The sheeple, as I like to call them. They're just following.
But unfortunately, man, people in our own community are becoming the sheeple now, and they don't realize it. They're feeding the machine in certain ways by focusing on things they shouldn't be focused on, by focusing on conspiracies and events that are of no importance to what the bigger picture is, and will only drag us deeper into the problems we're in.
Yeah, and like we were talking before we came on, yesterday, I just got to get away from the political stuff. There was a podcast I follow, and man, it was just all of that. The Trump thing, the Trump indictment. Just get off of this. This is something they're just distracting you with. I mean, there's other people in this world other than Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And I'll take that back to predictive programming again, because I really believe that Weekend at Bernie's was predictive programming for the Biden administration. So.
Oh, yeah. That was great. Oh, I need to go back and watch that now. Yeah. So, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say politics is it's theatrics. Most of everything we see from our media and Hollywood and television is theatrics to get us focused on a certain area of false reality, so that we don't remember what the truth is, basically. It's all about remembering.
Right. Oh, and you know, that's kind of the thing. I mean, we'll change topics, but I always say they're playing the long game. You know, most people don't know because they're not old enough now. But before September 11th, when you used to just be able to walk into the airport, go through a metal detector, and go down to your gate, you didn't have to get probed and scanned and all kinds of stuff like it is now. And so now everybody just accepts it. It'll never go back the way it was. And they just keep pushing that long game thing. And next, it'll be the mask because they're going to make a comeback on it.
Yeah.
That's all I want to talk about that because my blood.
Yeah, but we have to realize, man, just non-compliance is so powerful, and true non-compliance is the most powerful because all we got to do is just not pay attention to it and act like it's not happening, and it won't.
Yep, I agree. And that's my whole thing is with the community that I'm involved in, and and with you're the political community, paranormal, and all that, and bringing it together is we're open-minded. We listen to stuff. It's getting this information out to the sheeple to get them to open their eyes and start to pay attention to what's actually going on with our reality. Because if we don't have the numbers, we're never going to be able to get back. And I mean, do you think we ever get back to the original reality we all came from? Or
I think it's possible. I don't know if it'll happen during our perceived lifetime. I'm hoping it will. I'm trying to climb up higher in the levels of as far as true information that people have to get a better feel as to what the future holds, if that's possible. And I have to have hope that it is, that there is a way to regain access to what we understand is true reality. And I think we're in the process right now, but it's an uphill battle trying to, just like you said, trying to get people to listen. And the only thing you can do is put the information out there, and the folks that are supposed to hear it and supposed to gravitate toward it will. And I think that's happening a lot with people right now. They're finding people in their lives that are kind of gravitating towards them for certain reasons.
Okay. Yeah, one day I hope we can go back, or at least stop this from going any further.
Right. Yeah. Right on.
So I watched your the Forbidden documentary, which is
awesome.
The trailer we led off with. That was very good.
Thank you.
So give me a little bit of background on it. How did you? I mean, that was. You must put a lot of time into that. How long did it take you to produce that?
It took a couple. I mean, it only took a couple of months in reality, but it was fundraising first, and then a trip to Louisiana, and then about a month or so of editing. So maybe about 3 months altogether. But it's going to be an ongoing thing. I just got inspiration one day through a psychedelic experience, and I decided that I went to school for film and digital media, and maybe I could implement some of the skills I had there with documentary film production, and with all the people that I know, with all the amazing authors and researchers that I've had on my show, and all the guests I already had, and all the episodes I already had, I would probably be able to make just an amazing film content I had. So that was going to be the original idea. Just take a bunch of interviews that I already had, make a huge documentary, 2-hour documentary film, the Forbidden documentary series, just about all kinds of topics. But I decided to take a different approach and break it down into episodes and seasons. And I thought, well, first season, why not go back to my home state of Louisiana, because it is one of the most paranormal and haunted locations in the United States. It's got a rich history, incredible hidden history, and that'd be a great place to start the first episode. Went and took a trip to Louisiana in April, got a lot of footage, interviews, went on a little Bigfoot expedition. It was an amazing time, spent time in New Orleans at plantations, hung out with some tour guides. It was great. And when I get back, I have so much footage and content that I'm like, this isn't going to be just one episode. So for the Occult Louisiana season 1 is going to end up being about 2, maybe 3 episodes. I'm in the middle of production of the second episode right now, about halfway done with that. The first episode it covers everything from our extreme hidden history all the way back pre-Native Americans, possibly to Atlantis, that history that occurred in Louisiana. Then we go to hidden Mardi Gras history. We have an incredible experiencer of paranormal and cryptid and UFO activity all in one. His name's Scott Pace. He's an incredible guy. He's not on drugs. He's not delusional, and he's having incredible experiences and encounters with these cryptid creatures. We talk a little bit about that. We get into some paranormal. In episode 2, I'll be talking a little bit about the mob history in New Orleans. It ties to JFK assassination, voodoo, pirates, further into Scott's experiences, and a lot more into the rich history and paranormal ongoings in the wonderful, beautiful state of Louisiana, which I grew up in. And it's great. We got so many great people involved with this that I'm interviewing, providing information. And episode 1 was so fun. Episode 2 is going to be just as fun, and we're hoping to have episode 2 done in a month or so, but we do want to we are awaiting the Amazon release right now. It's already passed all the Film Hub inspections, and it's just in the pitching stage to go on some of the streaming platforms like Amazon and Tubi and all your fun little streaming platforms where you can actually sit down and watch the Forbidden documentary series. So that's in the process of getting accepted on there. That'll be coming out any day now. It could take up to 12 weeks. It's been a little over a week so far since it's been submitted to that. So be on the lookout. Coming out on Amazon soon. You can get a limited edition version of episode 1 right now from our website. You can check it out. It's only $3. So if you go to our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, you can download episode 1 of the Forbidden documentary series, Occult Louisiana, Older Than History. And it's a good time, man. And Scott's stories are incredible. If you enjoy cryptids and Bigfoot and Rougarou and ancient history, you should enjoy this. And the next trip we have planned is to New Mexico and Utah. And we're going to be just getting deep into the nature of reality, what's going on with UFOs, what's going on with Skinwalker Ranch, paranormal stuff. So we're going to spend some time with my friend Ryan Burns out near Skinwalker Ranch, and we'll have a good time with that. Also visit some people in New Mexico and Colorado as well. So we're going to hit that kind of southwestern Four Corner area and see what we can drum up there. But that's what's going on. It's going to be an ongoing thing. We're going to keep it going for however long it takes to complete this series, and it's going to be I don't know if it'll ever stop, but it's the new project for Forbidden Knowledge News. So that's what we got going on with that.
I enjoyed it. I watched it on a flight back from
Thank
Dallas
you,
the other day, and it was enjoyable. And
thank you.
And then I found out there's another episode coming. I'm like, well, when? Because I need it now. I still had another hour and a half to go.
Yeah. It'll come soon. It's coming soon.
So, have you had experiences with any cryptids or
No, I have not. The UFO experience I had was the only UFO experience I had was, well, I had a couple now that I think about it. The biggest one was the night that I had my first meditative contact experience. I saw 3 like bright orange flames in the sky in a triangular formation slowly moving up. My neighbor was sitting there talking to me. He didn't see anything. And then these things shot up and blinked out of existence. And I was like, that's pretty interesting. I have no idea what it was. And there was a couple of sky watches I went out on for UFO conferences that I was covering. One with Jimmy Church, one with Johnny Enoch. And we had the night vision goggles, and we saw some crazy stuff out there. And the other one was at the gathering last year. My friend Ryder Lee had some night vision goggles, and he caught this like flying V-shaped UFO thing on there. That was pretty cool. But again, I think a lot of this stuff is our craft. I think, especially some of the hardware and physical technology is stuff that we've reverse engineered somehow. But I've never seen cryptids. I've never had like a real like kind of encounter with an unknown creature. I have had plenty of spiritual experiences with different intelligences, not only while I was under the influence of psilocybin, but during my everyday life, and it's becoming more and more. There is communication with something on the outside to myself on a regular basis, and there are things physically that change and occur in my reality that are reminders of this intelligence that is now interacting with me. And I do consider it my higher self and my spirit guides. There's nothing nefarious about any of it. And I don't think there's really anything nefarious about much of what we consider as the paranormal. I think it's just misunderstood. I think we're misinterpreting a lot of the experiences that we're having. I think it's mainly about one true message: to remember what we're doing here and what the falseness of this reality, and remember there is a real reality outside of this. And there are spiritual forces that are tempting to help us to remember this, whether it's elementals or our own higher selves, or what we consider extraterrestrials or angels. There is some kind of energy that is interacting with humanity on a very high level right now, and it's increasing.
And see, that's something I always thought it was. Everybody has some abilities. Some people have ability at math or whatever, and other people but also for like psychic abilities.
Yeah.
People that are mediums. My daughter, when she was 3-4 years old, she used to have a lot. We drive by a cemetery, and the first time it happened, we were sitting at a stoplight, and there was a cemetery across the road, and we weren't even paying attention. And she starts going, "Wow, look at all the people." And we're just kind of like, there was nothing else around. It's like,
huh?
What is she talking about? And then we realized, and so then we didn't go, "Oh my God," we just took it as it went. And then it was like every time we'd kind of go by a cemetery, she'd say, "Oh, there's a mom and a baby." Well, how did they get there? Well, they died. And she did this with my parents, riding around with my parents without us in the car and without us telling my parents about it either. But now she's gotten, she's 25 now, but because you get to that point to where people tell you can't see spirits, there's no such thing as ghosts, and then because kids are, and then you're talked out of it. So
yeah,
the only other thing is, since we've lived in this house, the woman that owned it was the original owner. She died at 93. My daughter said she saw an orb go up the stairs from the living room and go into her bedroom one day, a blue orb. And that's,
oh wow.
I had somebody talking to my ear when I was sleeping, and my wife was downstairs watching TV, and they said my name perfectly clear. But
yeah,
and I used to have a lot of premonition dreams, and actually that seemed to have stopped at 2020. Because I was mentioning, I always tell my wife stuff, and now it's like I don't have that anymore. I don't, so maybe that goes to that part of the alternate reality that I lost something. But so what what you're saying, that you have connections to a higher spirit. Do you think is it the doorway is open?
I think that it's just I've opened my perception. I don't know if you want to say third eye, pineal gland, to where I am able to communicate with my spiritual self that is outside. And I'm sure that I was always able to. I just wasn't able to understand a lot of the information being relayed, and wasn't able to be aware that I was communicating with this. And the more I started using plant medicines and doing meditation, and between the sessions implementing some of the things I learned during the sessions, and practicing some techniques and things that even you could understand as magical practices, Eastern type of spiritual practices, meditative stillness, things like that, that I'm having results in my physical reality with actually changing things in my, and physically manifesting a different perspective or different outcomes into my reality by being aware of this stuff. And I think that that's all it is. It's just levels of awareness that people can achieve through different means. And I don't think it has to be through plant medicines or psychedelics or stream trips or anything. I think that this is naturally occurring to people right now. I wanted to speed it up for myself, so I kind of pushed myself into there by because I know that these plant medicines are a doorway to something.
Okay.
So I've been pushing myself, but there are people who are they don't have to use these. They have such a strong connection to begin with that this information is coming in, and they're having these natural experiences. And it could be, just they just have their consciousness naturally opened. I think there's also messages coming from the sun, coming from information that is transmitted from solar energy, that when we go outside and we sun gaze, that we can get this information. It's coming from nature and water and organic food and things that we naturally interact with, is all trying to get us to remember these very simple principles of what we're doing here.
Yeah, and my mind is open to all of that, because I can't believe that, we all take the earth for granted. We think that this is it. We are the shit. Well, not really. I mean, this, there's a whole universe of stuff. We don't even have a clue of consciousness or anything. Everybody's always saying, "Oh, I don't know why we're here." The meaning of life, we'll say. It's like, so there's no way we're the only people here. And I believe, maybe a little bit off course or anything, but the Anunnaki, that so we came from, why is I always forget the term, but prehistoric man. So they altered the DNA to make a slave race to mine gold, and this is why people are very attached to gold. We value it highly. And when I look at now with the mRNA vaccines, is this the start of altering us again for something else?
I think you're exactly right.
The people in the powers that be, there's that term again, I feel just aren't human. There's something, either that or they sold their souls. I mean, when you start to look at it, like, Queen Elizabeth, who's dead now, Henry Kissinger, and these people that are pushing all this stuff, how do these people live to be over 100 years old? I mean, there's something to it. Like I said, they're either not of our race anymore, or they've been taken over by some kind of spiritual, demonic, whatever you want to call it, entity, or they sold their soul for something.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's a force out there that is attempting to keep us from becoming aware, from remembering. And like you said about the injections, the mRNA injections, I think there's something to that is going to prevent people from having these realizations. It's kind of like a firewall on top of a firewall to keep people in a simulation within a simulation. And it's pretty dark from what I've heard. I mean, if you look at some of the old TED Talks that Bill Gates gave about trying to vaccinate against spirituality, these were real discussions that he's had. These were real presentations that he's made about trying to literally vaccinate people to get rid of the God gene, to get rid of our spiritual proclivities, to keep us from wondering about anything outside anything outside the material reality. So if you think about it, they were discussing these things in the 90s. What are they doing now with implementing some of this stuff, this technology that alters your DNA, into what's the agendas behind COVID? And it would be a very easy way to test this out on large scale for those that were, stupid enough to take this thing, that's their test subjects, to see if this really does, if we can really keep these people grounded enough to this false reality to where they'll never look outside again. And I think there's something to that, man.
I agree. I mean, I've never heard that aspect of it. I've heard the to stop.
I think there's
lower
plenty of reasons for it. I think there's technology in there to control plenty of aspects of our behavior, our health. They can maybe hit a
and
kill switch,
reproduction.
you know. Yeah,
Reproduction is
reproduction
the
for
biggest.
sure.
But
Yeah.
but I you know, but what you just said, you know, about us not being able to perceive anything outside this reality.
Mm.
I've never heard that, but that kind of makes sense. And just the irony of it, a guy that's a software engineer or whatever the hell he's supposed to be with computers to build that firewall.
Yeah.
You know, it's so that's interesting. I've
That's
never
why
heard that.
Silicon Valley is so involved with all of this, and that's why they're also
Yeah.
involved with psychedelic research, because they are attempting to also remove the spiritual components of what people experience during psychedelic experiences, so they can feed it to big pharma, so then big pharma can utilize it to brainwash people in a massive mind control program. So that's really what's happening with the unfortunate legalization across the board of psychedelics, is because they eventually want to co-opt that too, so people will not be able to have their spiritual experiences even through the plant medicines, and we'd have to start, you know, growing our own and you know, going back to nature with that too. That's why I've been growing my own psilocybin mushrooms and things like that, because I do not trust anything that's going to come out of the legalization process and the mainstream distribution of psychedelics. So it's very interesting, a lot of the things that's happening. And if you step back and look at everything, you can see how we've all been kind of pushed in certain directions to get us to where they want us to go right now. And it's just, you know, a technocratic false reality where we do not even care if there's anything on the outside of this.
Well, I mean, and it's the same thing with foods, you know, GMOs and all this, and you know, what fake meats and everything. It's just people just gotten to the point they're just go, whatever. It can't be bad because they're selling it to me. Well, there's a reason why they're doing it. I mean, it's just, and you know, again, it goes to the vaccine, like you said. It's a world full of lab rats at that point.
And that's why they're targeting the younger generations, because it's going to be easier to control them and alter them and change them going on. I mean, they've been targeting us for a while through our food and water and air and pharmaceuticals. So we were a target audience for a while, our generation and the generation before, when all that started. But now we've got a new target audience, and they're focusing on different things. They're doubling down on the pharmaceuticals. But now they're getting into more of a mind control aspect when it comes to sexuality and sexual development of children, and they are altering people genetically, and they're going to try and get us to want to alter ourselves genetically because of the feelings of not feeling right in our own body, not knowing who or what we really are, the LGBTQ confusion that's being manufactured and put out there to intentionally confuse the younger generation and get them on the track of self-destruction, basically. Because if they're broken and they destroyed themselves, that means that they're not in control. That means that the system is in control of them, and that's the ultimate goal.
Right. Yeah, you're spot on about that. I mean, it's crazy what's going on, and it's all about their control over the whole thing. Yeah, it's scary. Again,
it's scary, but I realize, man, we have to have fun with this. No matter how hard it is, no matter how dark it gets, we have to have a good time. We have to bring levity, got to bring humor, and we got to bring positivity to all this, and try and, you know, love and compassion and all the good things, because that's what's going to get us back on the right track. All the other stuff is breeding negativity and hate and depression and all the icky stuff that we're dealing with on a daily basis.
And everything.
We have to be more childlike. We have to be more innocent. We have to kind of hone in on the lighter and more positive, energetic side of our reality, and that's a whole key to it. You know, got to have fun with it.
And that's where I decided to do Event Horizon. I mean, that's what it's about. Is having fun, people just speaking their mind. I don't know if you've seen the intro to the program yet. I kind of change it around every now and then, but I try to make it as comical as possible because that's what I want. I mean, you can't, man, if we just hold ourselves down with frustration and being upset, you're just gonna die. You got to enjoy life. We have to make as much of it in this reality as we can right now.
Yeah, that's why I love shows like one on my network, Legit Bet. They bring so much humor to this. And even Tinfoil Hat with Sam Tripoli, even though he gets stuck in some weird rabbit holes, he's funny and he's hilarious and he's bringing levity to everything. So we need that. We need more, I try to bring levity to my shows, and I'm constantly shifting the direction that I'm trying to lead my guests in the line of questioning, because what I want to know is constantly changing. So my show will be evolving in the coming weeks and years, and I'm actually starting a new show today. It's called Trip Report. The first episode drops after we speak today, so
cool.
Everyone can look forward to that. It's going to be a new ongoing series, probably once a week, and it will document my profound experiences with consciousness exploration. And first episode will be coming out shortly.
Oh, I look forward to that. So, I mean, I'm going to put links to your shows, and when I post this tomorrow, I'm going to put links, if you don't mind, in the show.
Oh, yeah.
I'll include that one, the Trip Report, and
it's going to be on the same feed. So if you put in, the Forbidden Knowledge News regular feed, it's going to go along with all the other shows. So,
okay, cool,
excellent, man.
No, I appreciate your time today and coming on. Anything else you want to discuss?
Oh, hey, if you got any other questions, let me know. I would just, again, I want to remind the audience, if you want to see that limited edition version of the Forbidden Documentary Episode 1, go to our website and download it now. ForbiddenKnowledge.news is the website. That you can also get all our shows there, get links to everything else we have. All you have to do is click the link and you download. It's a PDF, but you can download from the PDF. You can download the episode completely, and it's only $3 for a high definition version. If you want to pay $5, you can get a 4K version. Either way, it helps support us and helps us produce the next episode. Also, if you would like to help with production of the next episode, the best way to do that is pick up the first episode. And again, we should be dropping on Amazon anytime soon, so be on the lookout for that. The new show's coming out, and Forbidden Knowledge Network will be adding a couple of new shows over this coming year. We're still working on that one, so we're looking forward to that. If anybody has any suggestions, or if you would like to be a guest, email me, forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. And all of our premium content, please go to rockfin.com/FKN+. For $15, you get not only us, you get all the 500 plus creators that are on Rockfin that are in this community, and all their premium content for that one same $15. So go in there, check that out, subscribe, and it'll help us out too. And I think that's all we got, man. Thank you so much for having me on again.
Well, the other way is through Rumble. And like yesterday, I signed up to be a $5 a month subscriber.
That's right. I forget about that. Yes, you can also subscribe on Rumble.
That's helpful in a lot of ways right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I appreciate your time, Chris. It was a joy to talk to you.
Yes, Angus.
I will be watching you.
Also, I would love to get you scheduled on Forbidden Knowledge News in September. So I'll send you a message after we get off, and we'll get you scheduled on there.
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man.
Enjoy your new show. I'll be looking forward to watching it later on today.
Yes, sir. Enjoy your day.
Take care, Chris.
Thank you.
Bye.